Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Just Two Brothers podcast, where we will be sharing our journey so far and some of the simple tactics we've learned that have helped us become great leaders.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Just Two Brothers podcast, and welcome to the new year of 2024. We're going to start this year out with a little something that I learned from my Christmas break with my kids. And I took some time to build some Legos with my kid and had some thoughts during the process and then over the course of the few days afterwards. So here is management skills I learned from building Legos with my son. My son loves building Legos, just as I did when I was his age. But the roles have changed since then. I used to do all the building by myself. Now I get to leave it to the professionals. When Colt asks if I want to build Legos with him, the answer is always yes. Though that means he is building the Legos and I'm filling more of a support role. We start by cleaning off a table, making a workspace, we get the box open, and we pull out the instructions as well as several numbered packages. He finds a starting point in the instructions and gets to work. Like I said before, I no longer do the building. That's all, little man. My job now is to look ahead at the instructions, locate pieces necessary for upcoming steps, and set them off to the side where they can be easily located by the builder or Colt. Occasionally, I might get to assemble a few small parts for the next step just to kind of aid in the building process. From time to time, he'll struggle to snap some pieces together, maybe lose what step he's on in the instructions and get confused, or even start to look for pieces for the next step, not knowing that I had already set them aside for him. This is where I step in and I help out. I can explain to him how to put something together if it's not making sense. I can assemble parts that are more difficult when he can't quite get it yet. I can keep him on track and help him find where he left off. If he's found looking for parts, I simply need to communicate that the parts have already been found and show him where they were put. When Cole looks at building Legos, he sees the build process, step by step. I look one or two steps ahead and do what I can to maximize the efficiency in the process without taking his specific job from him. When he hits difficult steps, becomes confused or discouraged, I simply show him that things can be done, or maybe that his confusion or difficulty simply lies in the way he's interpreting the directions. Long term, I want my son to learn how to build Legos and to be able to do everything without me. But I still want him to have me there to support him and help him build. This means allowing him to struggle through the process and take pride in the building without me taking any credit for the work done. He wants to feel capable of building his Lego sets. He also wants to know that when he has questions or doesn't know what to do or maybe makes a mistake, that I'm going to help him through the issue without judgment, without frustration, without getting angry with him. If I got upset with him or treated him poorly because he wasn't sure what to do, or maybe took over because it's easier that way, he's going to lose any desire to have me help. Now, would it be easier for me to build the Lego set myself? Absolutely. Would it be more efficient for me to do all the work myself? Possibly. But then he doesn't get to learn. I could do all the work myself. And I pride myself in being capable of doing almost anything and everything there is. The unfortunate part of that is that nothing gets passed down. There's no tricks of the trade that can be taught to others if nobody is learning from the sole person doing the work. The amount of pride I see in my son's eyes when we finish building a Lego set is enough of a payout for me these days. I don't want to take that feeling away from him. If Colt asked me to build Legos with him and I told him, no, you should be able to figure that out by yourself, several things might come of that. He might feel like I don't want to help him, or maybe that I even don't like him. He would still be able to build Legos, but it may take a substantial amount of time more with him doing all the tasks by himself than it would if I were there to help him. He would still encounter times of frustration or difficulties in building. This means he will either fight through it and figure it out on his own, or he could get frustrated to the point of not wanting to do it at all. I could yell at him when he struggles and asks for help or does something wrong. This is going to teach him to doubt himself and his own capabilities, while also instilling the idea that I am not there to help, but instead I am there to enforce and instruct. Approaching this with the desire to continue building Legos with my son, not just in the next week, but in the next 5+ years, allows me to work with him in a way that will leave both of us fulfilled with the process while showing him everything I know and supporting an eager mind before it becomes closed off to my ideas and my perspectives and my ways of doing things. We need to start looking at management from this perspective as well. Think long term. Your team is your team, just as my kids are my kids. Biggest difference is that teams will change. You're going to lose people, might gain several over the years, and my kids will always be my kids. But start looking at your team as your family. Each one of them has different talents, skills, desires, and goals. They all show up to do a job. They want to do the job they showed up to do while feeling capable and supported through the process. If you can supply your team with all the tools, parts, knowledge, etc. necessary to do their job, they will maintain or improve in efficiency. They will feel supported and have less stress when it comes to doing their jobs. If you show them how to do something when they struggle, instead of telling them or getting frustrated, they will learn and grow. Your employees may be with you for 10 days or 10 years. Why wouldn't you choose to foster that relationship and be supportive? Not everyone is cut out for every job, and people will come and go. But I would much rather foster a positive working relationship where people look forward to working with me. Who knows? Maybe in the future, you will get to see one of those people that you built Legos with, building Legos with someone else, the same way that you taught them. That's what I took from a simple thing of an hour and a half, 2 hours with my son over Christmas of building Legos with him, is as a leader, as a team leader, as a supervisor, whatever, you are the support system for everybody below you. You are the head of communications. You are the head of all of that. You are the foundation for where everything is based off of. If you have terrible communication skills, if you have a terrible attitude, if you approach situations in a less than helpful manner, anything along those lines, all those negative behaviors will be transferred onto your team, and your team is likely not going to want anything to do with working for you or with you. And usually at that point, nobody feels like they're working with you. They all feel like they're working for you. And that's not what we're trying to build here. I urge you to take some time and look at the way that you approach everything in your day-to-day life. Whether it's with your kids, whether it's with your spouse, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, whatever. employees at work, co-workers at work, anybody you meet, take a step back. Think of how you would want to be talked to and treated and have things explained to you, and what might help you understand those things in a better way than maybe you were explained. There are so many situations and so many instances and so many opportunities we have in our day-to-day lives to grow and learn and develop our leadership skills. And it's important that we take every single chance we can to take that in and take the opportunities that we've been given. Taking a step back from that, I kind of wanted to share a few things that I learned by doing this podcast over the last however many months. We've done 30, I think this is our 31st episode coming out this week, and I've learned quite a few things about myself, about my leadership skills, the knowledge that I have, and honestly the effectiveness of some of what we talk about in real time. Ryan and I started this podcast. We had lunch or breakfast one day, Ryan, his wife, and myself, and he had an idea, and we talked about it and decided that we wanted to do a podcast together talking about leadership in the workplace and at home and things like that. So we've jumped into this kind of flying by the seat of our pants. We've had some preparation, we had some things in mind, and we're figuring this out. It's a commitment. It's a big commitment. And it's very easy for schedules to get away from out of hand. It's very easy to mismanage time, and that all makes it difficult to get things done sometimes. Communication's extremely important, and when you're working on a project with somebody else, it's vital. If you can't communicate, somebody's going to drop the ball, or there's going to be expectations held somewhere by somebody else that somebody's not going to meet expectations because those expectations have not been understood, have not been clearly conveyed, or there's been a misunderstanding along the way. If you want to do it, you'll do it. And I mean that as far as this podcast goes, as far as changing the way that you approach situations, taking a look at your leadership style, maybe your parenting style, maybe the way that you operate in a relationship. It's hard to take a look at how you handle things and think maybe I could make improvements. Everybody has room to improve, whether that's communication, time management, anger, just general social skills. Any little improvement that you can make to your day-to-day life, the way that you handle anything, start small. Start with something that's doable. If it means you got to start saying hi to more people, or just take some time to actually listen to people and hear them out when they have something to talk about. Just start small. Start small, start making changes, and see the positive impact that it makes. Because I guarantee you if you start opening yourself up to making little changes to everything we've talked about, applying even some of the topics and points that we've brought to light here on the podcast, if you take any number of those and just apply one small aspect to your life, I guarantee you will see positive results. I know it. The only reason I can say that is because I've been doing it. I've been doing it since we started this podcast. It's helping keep me on track and keep me honest and accountable for the changes that I want to make and the progress that I'm making towards those goals. If I don't set goals for myself, I'm going to go nowhere. So I've been taking the little things that we bring up. If Ryan brings up something that I think that might be a good idea, or we've said, I think I'm going to try that out this week, I've been doing it. The lists, the notes that I've been taking, the bringing a notepad around, I've been continually practicing all of that, and I urge you to do the same. Pick an episode that we've, over any topic that we've covered over the last 30 episodes, pick an episode, listen to something, write down one tiny thing that you took away from that podcast, one little change that you could make to your life, and apply it. And I just wait to see how it impacts you. If it doesn't, make another change and then start seeing how things change. But take the time to do it. It's going to be worth it. Ryan has a few things that he'd like to share on topics that some things that he's learned from this year, and here he is.
First of all, I want to say Happy New Year, everybody. We made it through another one. 2024 is going to be a great year. I am excited for this year ahead. We've got a lot of things we're working on here, a lot of personal things working on, and just trying to be better all the way around. So I'm excited for this upcoming year. Should be good. I've got a couple things to share about what I have learned over the past year. It's been a rough year, but I have learned a lot, and I feel like I've come a long way. And that is why I am excited for this next year. Probably the biggest lesson I learned was I am my own worst enemy. And what I mean by that is when it comes to keeping myself in a state of mind or in an emotion, I perpetuate that myself, and I didn't fully realize the extent to which I did that until I had to deal with all my shit this year. Figuring out, or I guess towards the beginning of this year really, figuring out just how depressed I was. So that was a revelation in itself, and then realizing that I was the one keeping myself in that state of depression and letting myself get back to that same state again is one of the biggest things I learned. Just how much control I have over my state of mind if I don't allow other factors to control me. I am in control of me. Nothing else controls me. And just realizing that and figuring that out and how powerful that can be, that was a big lesson for me this year. And I continue to struggle. It's going to be a battle for the rest of my life. I'm sure it is for most people out there, just figuring out how to... Motivation doesn't... You look at people and say, oh, I wish I had your motivation. But you do. You just have to reach for it. It's there. Just push yourself to that. and constantly catch myself being lazy or choosing to not do the important things to do the less important things and letting fires get in my way. And so I recently read The 1% Rule by Tommy Baker, and that is a lot of good information in it. But the main point is strive to get 1% better every day. Just 1%. That's nothing in the grand scheme of things. 1% is nothing. If you do that each and every day, just 1%, that's 365% in a year. That's an incredible change that you've made, an incredible improvement that you've made from just doing 1% a day. And so keeping that in mind, and just how small of a task it could be to just keep yourself moving forward. And I have to make sure I remember that, because I can let one lazy day turn into 2, turn into 3, 4, 5, and then I haven't gotten anything done in a while. And I need to be better about making sure I work to get that 1% each and every day. Another book I am currently in the middle of is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, of course. And realizing how important goals are in keeping that motivation going. If you don't have anything to strive for, you have no reason to continue pushing for anything. So that's when you can slide back into that laziness. And while I'm reading that book, I have goals. I know I have goals, but I don't put the consistent work in to make sure I reach those goals and reach them in a timely manner. Because maybe not all of them are achievable, but a lot of them are, and I just keep moving the goalposts, and that's not fair to myself. That's not fair to maybe my family, or who knows who it's unfair to, but constantly moving that goalpost because I choose to be lazy is something I need to be better about. And that 7 Habits has helped me realize writing that down and visualizing those things is important. You can't just keep it in the back of your mind, because that's not strong enough to keep you motivated. If you write it down, you can look at it each and every day, and then you can visualize the goals and continue pushing, because it's a constant reminder. It's not easily forgotten about because it's right there in front of you. And so, yeah, reading that book has made me start to realize how important it is to write my goals and ambitions down. And that's something I am going to work on this year. Is just, writing those down and being more dedicated about reaching my goals, not letting myself get lazy. On the same note, something I've always told my kids and a lot of people I've worked with is the minute you stop working on yourself is when everything goes to shit. Something I've always believed. I've always known that we control ourselves, but like I've been talking about, I didn't realize the depth to which we control ourselves. Call me stupid, call me ignorant, whatever you want. It just took me a little bit longer to completely figure it out. There's plenty of people that still don't realize that, and they may know it, but they fight it, or some people will just never understand it. They think that's just who they are and who they have to be, and unfortunately that won't ever change. But took me 37 years to figure it out. A little bit long, but at least I did it. But yeah, I've always known that. It's always been a rule, but I did not realize just how much that statement hits home and I understand my own statement, my own philosophy more than I ever did in the past. So I'm feeling good going into this next year after some of the lessons I've learned in the past in 2023. I'm going to stumble, going to have more tough lessons I have to learn, I'm sure. Hopefully I can minimize them and maybe eliminate them. Probably not, but I will work to be better about keeping my emotions and my motivation in check. Another thing I've learned this year has been the podcast. We've done a lot over the past year with just the podcast. I do all of the social media, all the graphics, everything. I put all of that together, so I've had to learn how to do all of that graphic design. I've had to become a better writer, learn how to write better, be more creative. And I've always kind of enjoyed writing, but creativity is, I guess, not something I ever felt was my strong suit. And I use Canva to do all of the graphics for anybody who is familiar. And they make it very easy to put all of that stuff together, and you can search through templates and whatnot. So you get a lot of inspiration, but as I've gotten further and further into it, I've created some of my own stuff, completely changed some of the templates that are on there. So I've just gotten more creative and tapped into that creative side that I apparently do have a little bit more than I ever have before. So I've learned a lot about myself and just a lot about graphic design and podcasting, social media and promotion and marketing, and there's a lot that goes into all of this, and trying to just figure it all out and keep it all straight and keep it together has been a battle and a learning experience. I've gotten to learn all of that stuff on top of keeping this going isn't always easy. We've put out, I think we did 32 episodes in 2023. We have over 700 downloads, but there are episodes that only have 4, 5, 6 downloads. And that can be tough on you when you put all of this work and effort and time into something and then feel like it falls flat or nobody's listening. It's tough, and to keep that determination going, I've had to learn that this year. And it's not anything like I don't enjoy doing. I love sitting down, talking with Joe, having all of these discussions about leadership and the things I've learned, the lessons I've learned along the way, and hopefully sharing that with enough people that we can start to change the way that leadership runs. Because I see too many leaders doing the wrong things, and it's simple to do the right things and lead a great team. And I want that message to get out there and to feel at times like I'm doing something wrong, or I am sharing the wrong message. You start to get that imposter syndrome setting in sometimes. And it can be tough on you, and it's a grind. And so I've learned a lot of determination this year, a lot of motivation, and it's been good. It's gotten me out of my comfort zone. It's pushed me more than I've pushed myself in the past. I have been more dedicated to it than I have other things in the past. And so that has been a nice change of pace for me. And again, just learning how I can change my motivation that's been huge for me this year. My motivation is up to me. It's not up to anybody else. It doesn't just magically show up one day. You have to create the motivation to get things done. So with all of that said, it's been a long last year, but it's been a good last year. I feel like I've got a lot of good relationships right now, moving in the right direction. Got some things to work on, but that should always be the case. There's always something I can be working on and should be working on in order to keep myself moving in the right direction. I am excited for this upcoming year, as I've mentioned. And with the podcast and with J2B and Joe, we've got some new things that will be coming out this year. You'll have to wait and see what those are going to be. The one thing I do want to mention, I don't know if Joe's going to talk about it or not. I will have more info to come, but if you are in the West Michigan, Grand Rapids area, there is a polar plunge for Special Olympics coming up in February. I will get the exact date, all the information. I will be putting that out on social media, so keep an eye out for it. But if you would like to get involved, I would like to get a big group of people together and get some J2B crew, and let's go. What is the word? Let's go support a great cause, a great organization. I don't know. I've talked about the cold showers, cold plunges some people are doing. It's kind of a little bit of a revolution, you could call it right now, but I took a little bit of an interest in that last year. I've done the cold showers every single day for the last year, and brought me to do the polar plunge last year. Wanted to get out of my comfort zone and try something different, so I did it. Joe was going to do it with me. He ended up having sick kids and wasn't able to, but did it at home. So we are hoping to get a crew together and go out there and, like I said, support a great cause. I will get all the information posted to social media. I believe my oldest daughter has already said she is going to do it. I think Joe's in. I believe one of his kids mentioned that they wanted to do it last year too. So I'm not sure if they're going to or not, but yeah, if you're interested, keep an eye out for that info. Let us know, and we will get this gang together. Other than that, yeah, excited for this upcoming year. Like I said, we've got some plans in the works for some J2B exclusive content. It'll be coming out in 2024, so keep an eye out for that as well. Otherwise, it's been great. I'm excited. Yeah, we will talk to you guys soon.